everybody. Mike here. I hope you guys are doing well this Tuesday. I've been asked to share my testimony with you guys today. My life has definitely been blessed by all those who have shared their testimonies, and so I hope that mine would be an encouragement to you guys today too. So to try to keep this short, I have 3 points that I'd like to share, and these 3 points are points that I learned from Sunday school back when Jeff was the high school Sunday school teacher at the old building. And the 3 points are, well, the first one is, who were you before Christ? The second point is how you came to know Christ. And the third point is who you are now after Christ. Or I'd probably rephrase that and say who you are now with Christ. And so for each point, I'll have sort of a short story, a very vague story for the sake of time, to sort of help illustrate each point to you guys. And so, sorry if you hear noises, the kids are around me. And so for the first point, who you were before Christ, well, to say the least, I was a bad kid. And sorry, Owen's looking at me. And I was a bad kid. And I got into some trouble and things like that. And, so for the story that I'd like to share, when I was 13 or 14, around that time frame. And I remember hanging out with some friends one night, and we were bored, and so we were like, you know what, let's go do something. And so at this time, if you're old enough, you would know what Honda Master Keys are. And so we all each had a Honda Master Key, and so we were like, you know what, we're bored, let's go do something. And so we went down to the south side, and we went to go steal a car. And it was a random one, so I ran to the driver's side, got it unlocked with the master key, got the car started with the master key, and ended up driving it back to the north side, where we later dumped it and took some tools out of it and things like that. So we were some bad kids, and definitely a story that I do not like to tell or don't want to tell. But it really illustrates, who I was before Christ, and not only that, but the goodness of God working in my life and how far He's taken me. Here you go, baby. And so, sorry, he dropped a toy. So moving on to the second point, how I came to know Christ was actually because I got kicked out of school. It was about midway through freshman year of high school, and a fight broke out, and I knew the individuals involved. I wasn't directly involved, but I knew the individuals who were involved in it, and these were friends at the time who I hung out with, and we skipped school and things like that. So I had front row seats to the fight. I wasn't involved in it, but because the school knew that those were my friends and that I hung out with them, we all got kicked out of school. We all got kicked out. And it was at this point where I was at a pretty low point in my life, because it almost seemed as if everything I was doing was wrong, and it was a domino effect. Kept getting in trouble outside of school, kept getting in trouble inside of school. I think I just came off of a 5-day suspension, and and when I got kicked out, I remember just pacing around in my room, just like asking that question: what is the purpose of life? What's the purpose of existence? And I remember a couple months prior having it wasn't really a conversation, but my mom trying to ask me, she was trying to get me to read this book, and I was like, Mom, I'm not gonna read a book to tell me how to live my life. I remember walking away from her. And coming back to that night in my room, I was pacing around and, asking that question, what's the purpose of life? And I remember looking down at the desk that was next to my bed, and there the book was. The book was there, and it was almost like that angelic moment where the book was glowing, that moment. And of course I'm exaggerating, but it was almost like that, and I looked at the book and I read the title, and the title read The Purpose-Driven Life, and it was written by Rick Warren. And, so I was like, it's almost as if this book has, the answer to my question. And I remember picking it up and sitting down on my bed and that night I couldn't put it down. I kept reading through it, page after page. And I remember the one compelling point for that book was, that it stated that it's not about you, right? Like, it's not about you. And I think that was one of those, it was almost like that was the answer to my question, that life was not about just me, that it had to be more than just me. And so, yeah, that night, that book really was a guide to my Christian walk, my first baby steps as a Christian, because that night I prayed the sinner's prayer, asking God to forgive me of my sins, and really asking for the blood of Christ to wash me white as snow, and to really repent from my sins and turn away, because I knew I had a lot, so and so that was how I was saved. I remember opening my eyes and just feeling, after the prayer, opening my eyes and feeling just a great sense of joy, just overwhelming me. So moving on, who I am now after Christ, or with Christ. I remember, because I went to elementary school at Hapa, and then I was out for a few years, and I eventually graduated from Hapa. So I remember, in those high school years, sitting down with some friends who I knew from way back when, elementary school, and I remember looking at my guy, and I asked him, like, hey man, did I change? And he looked at me and he was like, dude, you changed, man. He's like, yeah, you changed. He was like, you're like a totally different person now. And I remember looking at him and I was like, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And that just speaks the goodness of God, and the mercy and the graciousness of God, and how He was so willing to reach down and quicken my heart to love Him. And it was really through my mom, and really being a testimony to me. And in those early stages, really just reading the Word and being sanctified by the Word, and allowing the Word to move in me and be transformed by the renewing of the mind. And I really was sanctified by the Word, because I couldn't put the Bible down. I kept reading it, and it's almost like that verse, John 17:17, where it says, "Sanctify them in the truth. Thy Word is truth." And I just kept reading the Bible, and I allowed the Bible to really work in my life, and yielding to the scriptures, and really trying to put what it's saying into action. And so I'll leave you guys off with this last verse, one of my favorite verses that has held dear to my heart, and it's 1 John chapter 2, verse 6. Some of you may know it already, but this verse says, if you claim to know Him, then you must walk as He did. And I remember when I first saw that verse, I was like, no way, it really says that? Like, the Bible really says that? And so it was really one of those moments where it was like, because the Bible said it, and it was almost that moment for me, like, man, I really got to live it. I really got to live it, and I really got to walk like Christ. And that's the goal in life, and that's the prize in our eyes, is to be more Christ-like every day. And so I'll leave you guys off with that. I hope you guys are encouraged by that. And I'll see you guys soon. Have a happy Tuesday.